a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Dr. King once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" The humanitarians we honor today clearly understand Dr. King's call and are answering by making dramatic improvements in the lives of so many others. Today, we celebrate the content of their character.
Hello everyone, I'm Tamara Banks, and welcome to the 2023 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards as we honor 6 inspirational individuals and nonprofit organizations in our community, as well as pay special tribute to one of our civil rights pioneers with the Trailblazer Award.
This year marks the 38th anniversary of this event. In 1986, 2 years after the passage of House Bill 1201, the legislation that established Dr. King's birthday as a holiday in Colorado, Mrs. Wilma J. Webb founded the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Social Responsibility Awards to give the business community a chance to honor the memory of Dr. King and reaffirm our commitment to the values he taught us. 8 years ago, the name of the award was shortened to the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. A total of 265 individuals, corporations, and nonprofit organizations have received this meaningful award over the years. Today, we add 7 more names to this distinguished list. Born in Toledo, Ohio in 1920, Charles Burrell recently celebrated his 102nd birthday. He is an acclaimed classical and jazz bass player, most prominently known for being the first African American to be a member of a major American symphony, the Denver Symphony Orchestra, now known as the Colorado Symphony. He's often referred to as the Jackie Robinson of classical music. Mr. Burrell was raised in Depression-era Detroit, Michigan. When he was just 12 years old, Burrell heard the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra under the renowned conductor Pierre Montet on the family's Crystal radio. At that moment, he decided he would play one day for an orchestra under the direction of Montet. And his mom encouraged him with her wisdom.
And she gave me good words of advice. You can be anything you want to be, but stick to it. Don't give up, and I didn't.
That's right. He did not give up, despite pervasive racism, especially in the classical music world. In 1949, he moved to Denver and was soon hired by the Denver Symphony Orchestra. In 1959, he fulfilled his dream of playing with Montet by joining the San Francisco Orchestra. He received a standing ovation from the orchestra on his first night.
I almost fainted. It was so marvelous. The whole orchestra stood up and applauded, and I said, "What is this? For who is this?" And they said, "It's for you." Oh.
In 2021, a school in Aurora, Colorado was named after him, the Charles Burrell Visual and Performing Arts School, where his 7-year-old great-grandson now attends. Mr. Burrell has performed with some of the biggest names in jazz, like Billie Holiday,
Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie, Duke Ellington.
Outside of family, a certain buddy of his was his favorite to perform with.
My most favorite of all favorites is the Duke Ellington.
While music came to him naturally, it was the hours of practice, determination, and hard work that made Burrell a world-renowned bass player.
Every day, 4 hours. I was up at 4:30 in the morning.
Even if his fingers don't move as fast as they used to, this living legend still has music in his heart. Renowned sculptor Ed Dwight has been an inspiration throughout his life.
I've been doing art since I was 2. I got a scholarship to the Kansas City Art Institute out of high school, and I was gonna be this hotshot artist guy.
But a series of events, including discovering a photo of a black pilot on the front page of the newspapers he was delivering at 9 years old, put him on a path that would soon have him soaring.
And I was throwing my black newspaper, and lo and behold, on the cover above the fold was a picture of a black pilot that was from Kansas City. He had just got shot down in Korea. And he was a short dude like me, was 5'4". And I looked at that, I said, I'll be damned. They're letting us fly airplanes.
Decades later, he became President John F. Kennedy's pick to be the first African-American astronaut candidate.
I had one of the most illustrious Air Force careers one could create for a little short guy, because all the officers in the Air Force are tall white guys.
But Kennedy's assassination changed those plans of flying into space. So, while earthbound, Ed turned back to art. He received a Master's of Fine Arts degree from the University of Denver. Today, Ed Dwight is one of the most prolific sculptors in the world, with 131 public art and large-scale installations throughout the U.S. and 18,000 gallery sculptures. His long list of artistic achievements include creating a series of 50 bronzes entitled Black Frontier of the American West. Ed Dwight also created the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Denver City Park, where Dr. King stands on the shoulders of Gandhi, Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, and Frederick Douglass. Hate Free Colorado was a coalition of 18 nonprofits and 11 law enforcement agencies across Colorado. Established in 2016 in response to rising incidents of hate, the organization has become a valuable resource for crime victims and law enforcement.
Locally, we saw Hispanic grocery stores, an Indian restaurant, and others had their signs vandalized. Black Coloradans, LGBTQ Coloradans, Jewish Coloradans, folks from all backgrounds really started feeling the heat of kind of this immediate wave of hate crimes and hate incidents.
Hate Free Colorado works to ensure that all community members have equal access to law enforcement resources and are represented fairly. They promote a deeper understanding of the issues at play when a bias-motivated crime occurs and help create a compassionate response to these incidents.
I think we do have to be really honest and acknowledge that the individuals who are most frequently targeted with hate crimes and hate incidents are the ones that have the lowest levels of trust and confidence in law enforcement right now, and there are reasons for that. And so I think the attempt to try to bridge divides, to bring law enforcement agencies together with local community partners really is significant.
The coalition also works to strengthen state hate crime laws.
At the end of the day, the reason why this coalition exists is because when somebody is targeted simply for who they are, their identity, that destroys an individual's sense of belonging, inclusion, safety, and that has an impact across society.
Emmanuel Martinez comes from a family of 12. His father left their family when Emmanuel was only 4 years old, and Emmanuel was kicked out of school at the age of 14. He'd been convicted of joyriding and sentenced to a juvenile detention center. But it was at Lookout Mountain School for Boys where he painted his first mural.
I drew these images inside of the cell of the bed and my feet and my hands, and the toilet. And after a while I was doing commissions in there, painting stuff.
And 2 years later, an artist from Santa Fe, New Mexico changed his life, mentoring him to get back in school and graduate. After obtaining 2 art scholarships and winning statewide art competitions, Emmanuel was building his reputation as an exceptionally talented artist. He established his own studio in 1968. But working with the community is what he's best known for.
The community murals, and that's mainly what I do. I usually involve the community in painting them, from the whole process, from the concept of what we're going to put on it to the actual execution of the mural.
One of his most iconic murals is near Confluence Park, Confluence People, which depicts 12 faces wearing sunglasses that reflect images of the history of Denver and the spirit of coming together.
I wanted to create something very bold, so I took these figures and I, with sunglasses that would reflect different times in history and different activities that have been taking place in that particular area.
Having worked with civil rights leader Corky Gonzalez decades ago, Emmanuel continues to advocate for Chicano civil rights and pioneered his contemporary Chicano murals in the La Alma Lincoln Park neighborhood. Derek Okubo grew up in Littleton, Colorado, the son of Japanese-American parents, both of whom were interned in camps by the federal government during World War II, one of the grave injustices of American history.
My dad's family was imprisoned at Amachi during World War II here in Colorado. And then my mom her family was imprisoned up in Idaho. My dad was a part of the starting, along with some other local Japanese Americans, to start the preservation activities for Amachi,
which became part of the National Park System in 2022. Derek graduated from the University of Northern Colorado with a degree in psychology and double minors in communications and sociology. He joined Governor Roy Romer's staff as a community liaison before being recruited by the National Civic League in 1992.
When you look at the health, wealth, education disparities that exist today, you look back on that report and all the things that were done intentionally and deliberately to keep people of color down and out, you see why the disparities exist today.
In 2011, Mayor Michael Hancock appointed Derek Executive Director of the Denver Human Rights and Community Partnerships Agency, where he oversees 9 offices.
Our offices really focus a lot on ensuring that everybody matters and everybody counts, and that we have that our city government is accessible for all people, and also that the rights of our residents are protected.
The Rocky Mountain Indian Chamber of Commerce focuses on 2 key disciplines for its members. First, economic development, which it fosters through webinars, in-person instruction, and networking events like the Indian Biz Expo, American Indian Golf Fundraiser, and the American Indian Achievement Awards. All this to give Native Americans the tools they need to compete and thrive.
Originally, Native Americans, when they knocked on corporate America's door or government's door and nobody answered, they turned around and walked away. So I think it's important that we teach them and we get them to be aggressive in the business world.
The second discipline is education. Although the RMICC is a small chamber with only 150 members, they've raised and awarded more than $325,000 in scholarships for Native students over the past 10 years. When they held their annual American Indian Achievement Awards in November of 2022, they awarded an additional $15,000 in college scholarships.
Education has become more important with tribes. There's 33 tribal colleges on reservations.
And during the gala, they shared their culture, honored their students, recognized veterans, and discussed important Native issues with attendees.
In 2007, we began honoring our civil rights pioneers with the Trailblazer Award. Our 17th winner of this prestigious award is Charlesine Nelson.
In 2003, Dr. Charlesine Terry Nelson became the first manager of special collections and community resource development at Denver's Blair Caldwell African American Research Library. Located in historic Five Points, Blair Caldwell is one of only 5 libraries in the U.S. that provide a public library as well as archival material.
We're well known all over the country. We get calls from even Europe about what our collection contains, and it's the Cowboy West as far as they're concerned.
Along with Bonnie F. McCune, Dr. Nelson is the co-author of Recruiting and Managing Volunteers in Libraries, which has become a valuable resource for managers of volunteer programs nationwide.
It talked in those years about basic things you could do to recruit volunteers and how to train them and how to reward them.
Dr. Nelson also serves as the vice chairperson of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission and the chair of the Humanitarian Awards in concert. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Epsilon Nu Omega Chapter, Midwestern Region. Having an interest in history and books since she was a little girl, her mother said Dr. Nelson would turn into a bookworm. Well, if being a bookworm means finding and telling the truth about history, then Dr. Nelson is proud to be a bookworm.
I would like to see everyone get their part of documenting that history. And only places like libraries and museums and oral histories with all those pieces, it's like a puzzle. And that's always been something I've been interested in, is the full story. Who, what, when, why.
Dr. King's memorable words of love, hope, and compassion have clearly stirred the souls of the humanitarians we honor today with the 2023 Martin Luther King Jr. Business Awards. We celebrate the content of their character and applaud their efforts to make life better for so many people in Colorado.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are